Good afternoon. We can start the class in 2 minutes. Just wait for 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. So I hope you have read the textbook. Okay, sorry, we can start the class. I hope you have read the textbook. We've completed till P. Since we don't have enough time, we can just go quickly. And okay, let's start. Before that, you guys have class at 4, right? After this, you have class only at 4, no? Or do you have a class at 2:30?
No, ma'am, we don't have class at 2:30. We have class from 4 o'clock.
Can I take half an hour extra? If you don't
Yes,
mind.
ma'am, you can take.
Okay, madam.
Fine. Thank you. Okay. Okay, today also I am sorry, no PPT. I'll just type it out. Okay, let's start. Last class we discussed till P. Now we are going to start with Q. Q, U, A, T, R, A, I, N. Quatrain. Quatrain is, I'm audible, right? I'm audible. You can see the
Yes,
Word
ma'am.
document that I'm typing. Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am, we can see the screen.
Okay, fine. Next is quatrain. Quatrain is a 4-line stanza. Remember in last class we discussed about 6-line stanza, 7-line stanza. Oh, somebody has class at 3. No, I will leave class at 3. So quatrain is a 4-line stanza. Okay, it's a rhymed or it can be rhymed or unrhymed. It is a 4-line stanza. It's the most common stanza used in English poetry. It is usually used in long narrative poems. Okay. Now, next is, so it's a 4-line stanza. Next is realism. Again, see, lisism. So realism is a mode of writing that is real. See, real. So in this movement, they are adopting actual way of life or portray life faithfully. They are portraying the reality of life. Okay. So realism claims to represent life as it is. So they are not going to add any imaginary thing or they are not going to exaggerate thing. They are going in realism. They represent life as it is. All the sorrows, all the happiness, all the things that we face will be represented as it is. It is not a dream-like narrative. It is not a fancy narrative. It is the truth, true representation of life. Okay, that is realism. Realism actually started as a 19th century movement. Okay. we have 19th century writers like Geoffrey Chaucer, Daniel Defoe, Henry Fielding. All these writers dealt with realism. Next is refrain. Refrain is a phrase, line or group of line repeated at intervals in a poem, usually at the end of the stanza. So when you have lines repeated, okay, it can be a phrase, it can be a line, it can be a group of lines. It will be repeated at regular intervals. Okay, it will be repeated at regular intervals. Usually it comes at the end of the stanza. That is refrain. Usually refrain comes in ancient works like Bible, Greek works, Latin poetry, Renaissance poetry, and it is very common in ballads. So this is a very old ancient device. Okay. So it is a repetition of line at regular intervals. Next is repartee. Repartee. Repartee is a quick or clever response in a conversation. When there is a conversation, especially when that turns an insult, when it becomes an insult to a person. So that is repartee. It's a clever response in a conversation. It's a quick or clever response in a conversation, especially when that turns an insult on the person who initiated it. So there will be a conversation between two people and one person might have initiated the conversation and this conversation turns on to an insult. It becomes an insult to that person. Then there's a quick response. It is called repartee. For example, like when someone tells like, oh, you look so ugly, like something like a insulting statement, then there will be, I am ugly in a good way. You are more ugly than me. Like we'll give a quick response like that, something like that. That is repartee, giving a response to an insult. Next is repetition. Repetition will be, repeating. So there will be certain phrases, phrases or words or stanza or idea or allusion. It can be alliteration, rhyme. These are devices of repetition. Repetition is actually an art of, is a basic technique in art. Usually in poetry, musical composition, we have a basic technique. It is called repetition. Here what happens is, it might give an emphasis. When something is used repeatedly or something is used, then it will be it gives emphasis, right? It gives emphasis. That is repetition. Next is, so repetition is like a repeating certain words or sentence which gives certain emphasis effect on poetry. Words, sounds, phrases, stanzas, ideas, allusions, alliteration, rhyme, all these are devices of repetition. Next is rhyme. Rhyme is a repetition of sounds in two or more words that appear close to each other. Usually it comes at the end of the line. Remember rhyming words. We have rhyming words at the end of the poem, in end of the lines. That will be repetition. Repetition of certain words. That is rhyme. Just a second. Oh, no. Next is satire. Satire is a mode of writing that aim to expose and ridicule human follies. Last class also we talked about satire. Satire is a kind of using irony or yes.
Ma'am, refrain and repetition both are same because they both are having same meaning.
No, they are not same.
But ma'am, both have the same meaning, like they are repeating words at certain intervals.
See, we were discussing about repetition of other words also. Refrain is a repetition, but it is used like it's an old device. Okay. But refrain appears at regular intervals. It is not necessarily at the end. It appears at regular intervals. Okay, sometimes it will be at the end, sometimes it will be within the stanza. It's like repeating after regular intervals, after the end of certain stressed words. Okay, but
And then
repetition is
what
like,
is repetition?
yeah, repetition is not like repeating at regular intervals. It is like it's like a device. Here we have uh, not the exact word is repeating. We have certain alliteration, like what you say, alliteration is a repetition of consonant sounds. Certain sounds will be repeated, certain words or phrase will be repeated in order to give a musical effect or an emphasis.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it
Yes,
is
ma'am.
used in
Understood.
poetry, painting, prose, musical composition, even in the songs, in the movie songs, or everywhere this repetition comes. But refrain is used in ancient poetry and ballads.
Ma'am, refrain is also used in songs nowadays. Like one title line they will be repeating again and again after four lines of intervals.
If it comes at regular intervals, it is refrain.
Okay. So, ma'am, that means that
For
refrain
example,
is also
wait.
used in modern times.
It is used, but like it's actually very ancient. Like mostly we don't use refrain anymore, I guess.
Okay.
See, there are different kinds of repetitions. I will give you an example, then it will be more clear. If we say refrain, it can be a phrase, line, or group of lines that is repeating at regular intervals. Okay. So, when you write a line, we have a good thing going, gone. See, going is repeating. And again,
Yes,
in
ma'am.
after 2 or 3 lines, the same line will be repeated. Okay. But
Yes,
repetition
ma'am.
is like not just words. It can be alliteration, it can be rhyme, it can be even refrain comes under repetition. So repetition is like an
Yes, ma'am.
umbrella term. Repetition is like an umbrella term. Okay. It's like a group. So refrain all comes under repetition.
Yes, ma'am.
Repetition can be said as a basic technique in art as a whole. It's all these repeating things like refrain, alliteration, assonance, rhyme, all these things comes under repetition. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay, fine. We are like discussing satire. Satire is a like irony or sarcasm, exaggerated statements. Okay, it can bring out human follies, human foolishness. Okay, it brings out human follies and human foolishness. It's like when someone has something, some shortcomings, or it's maybe about a comical thing about an institution or a society. You want to ridicule something, you use satire. Oh, wait a second. Please don't let him go. Anna ma'am, Anna ma'am, just make him come inside. Don't make him go out. Hello? I'm sorry. So satire is like when you want to make fun of something, you use certain statements. When you want to ridicule something happening in the society, maybe something is happening in the society, and you want to say how bad it is for the society, you use some certain comical elements. That is called satire. It was very silly thing in order to attack something. If there is something, you use satire. Satire is a form of laughter. You make something very comic out of a serious incident. There are two types of satire: formal satire and formal or direct satire and indirect satire. The direct satire is from a classical tradition. Okay, it is against a person or a narrator. Okay, and then indirect satire is actually in the form of fictional narrative. Maybe you make a ridicule some action, or ridicule an author, or ridicule certain writings. It comes under indirect satire. When you want to make fun of a person or a narrator, it is called formal satire. You can read the textbook again. There are certain examples in the textbook. Next is Senecan tragedy.
मैडम सेटर में मैडम
Yeah.
setters are both the setters are there na madam, one
Yeah.
positive maybe, one is negative also na. Both are
It's not
satires,
like
no?
it's not like positive or negative. See, satire is basically making fun of something. So even if
Make
there is something serious happening, even when there is something serious incidents happening, you want to point out how foolish that is using certain fun element. Okay. So it brings out human shortcomings, human follies, or
satire
something
means
about the institution or society. And there are two types of satires: direct satire and indirect satire. In direct
direct
satire, it
satire
is a
and
very, yeah, direct satire is from a classical tradition. If you want uh, the author directly makes a satirical comment. If they will be making comment fun of a person or of the narrator himself, he will make fun of himself. Okay, then in indirect satire is more of a fictional narrative. There will be a novel. You make uh, fun of the novel, or you make fun of a certain author or certain action. It's more
okay.
fictional.
In the funny purpose, some people are chatting in this way. Ante that means satires in each and one another. It's like
No,
a
I didn't
punch.
hear.
Is it okay, madam?
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Is it
Hello?
like punch? Is it like punch?
No, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat it once again?
Satire is nothing but punch, I think. Is it okay or not?
Punch, like giving a dialogue. Not
Sometimes
really. It
we are
is
seeing
actually
in that
movies.
movies
The
or
thing that comes in movies. No, not really. But that is something kind of a moral statement or something. No, sometimes it's not really like that. It is. These are certain comments. These are just certain comments. If it will be like a bit of comic,
comments. Okay,
comic.
okay.
Yeah, comments. Yeah.
It may
Just
comic
give.
or serious.
Yeah, it actually will be a serious incident. Okay. Okay. Okay, just a second. Where is Ramesh? Hello. Then next is Senecan tragedy. Yeah, it's clear, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Next is Senecan tragedy. It's kind of a tragedy. There was a Roman philosopher called Seneca. Okay, there was a Roman philosopher called Seneca, and this is a tragedy that he brought in. Okay, Seneca wrote 9 plays. Seneca wrote 9 plays, and these were closet dramas. Closet dramas. Okay, sorry, 9 plays. Sorry. So these were closet drama. Closet drama means they are meant to be read and not performed. Usually dramas are written to perform, right? But closet dramas are meant to be read or recited rather than performed on stage. And he wrote 9 dramas, closet dramas, in blank verse. I hope
Read
you
means
remember
in
that.
the stories, novels, etc.
No, drama, play.
Which is not performed. We have.
See,
Ma'am, what is the
drama,
meaning of blank words?
you forgot. I taught you in the first class. Blank verse is unrhymed lines. Usually in iambic pentameter, unrhymed lines in iambic pentameter is called blank verse. There won't be any rhyme. It will be like 5 pentameter, iambic pentameter. Okay, now page number 28. So there was a Roman philosopher called Seneca, and he wrote 9 plays, and these 9 plays were closet dramas. Closet dramas means the dramas which are meant to be read or recited and not performed. Usually what is with the drama? Usually dramas are meant to be performed on stage, right? There will be audience, there will be characters performing on stage. That is a drama. But closet dramas are meant to be read, just like a novel or poetry. It is meant to be read. You can read you can read it, but it is not meant to perform. That is how these closet dramas are written. And Seneca wrote these 9 plays, and these are closet dramas, and they are in blank verse. Okay, and these plays consist of 5 acts. There will be 5 acts in the play. There will be intervening chorus and long rhetorical speeches, and there were themes of revenge, So this kind of tragedy is called Senecan tragedy. There will be bloodshed, there will be vengeance, taking revenge, fighting, even there will be melodramatic elements. These are called Senecan tragedy. And later on, the Elizabethan dramas took its influence from Senecan tragedy as well. That is Senecan tragedy. Next is sentimental comedy. Sentimental comedy is a genre that originated in 18th century. It is an 18th century genre. It is against restoration comedy. This is written as a reaction against restoration comedy. So you will be studying about restoration comedy and sentimental comedy in the coming classes. So we can just go fast because you will be studying later. Sentimental comedy is a kind of comedy that was against restoration comedy. So these are these comedy were portrayed middle class. The protagonist will be of middle class. They will have all the difficulties in life. Or the comedy is all about you are coming out of that trials and tribulations of life. That is sentimental comedy. Next is setting. Setting is time and place in which an event takes place. So when you read a short story, when you read a play, when you read a novel, there will be certain place and time where the action takes place, right? It can be historical, it will be political context, it will be social. So all these, the time and place in which an action is set is called setting. That's very easy, no? Next is soliloquy. Soliloquy is a device usually used in drama. Okay, popular device used in drama where the character will be alone on stage. The character will be all alone on the stage, and that character will express the inner feelings our thoughts to the audience. That is called soliloquy. Soliloquy is a technique where the character will be alone on the stage and that character expresses their inner feelings and thoughts to the audience. They are talking directly to the audience. That is called soliloquy. Next is simile. Simile is a figure of speech. Remember when I taught metaphor, I told you about simile. Simile is comparing things using words like and as. My love was like a red rose. So like that is an example of simile. You remember?
Yes, ma'am, we remember.
Yes. Next is spoonerism. Spoonerism is the reversal of the initial letters or syllables in order to create a new expression. See, when you write a sentence, when you write a letter, you reverse them. You write in a reverse order.
With the same letters.
How?
With the same letters, no, ma'am?
Yeah, for example, I'll tell you an example. I write a phrase, a blushing crow. So this is a phrase. So when it is in spoonerism, I will rewrite this as a crushing blow. See, the letters will be same, but they are written in a reversal order. Understood?
C and B are interchanged.
Interchange.
B and
Yeah.
C are
Ma'am,
interchanged.
they are having rhyming in them. Like a blushing crow, a crushing blow.
Yeah,
They're
they have rhyming, but they are not coming together. Okay, they are separate. They are not coming together in a line or anything. This, you just write it, that's all. So this is like a reversal of initial letters. Maybe the initial letters, see, B and C are reversed. Maybe the initial letters or syllables in order to create an amusing new expression. In order to create an amusing new expression, you use certain reversal of initial letters or syllables. It is called spoonerism. It actually derived from William Archibald Spooner. There's a person called William Archibald Spooner. So he was the one who first used spoonerism technique. Okay. Now,
Yes, madam.
My headset just fell off.
Excuse me, ma'am.
No, I'm just, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, now, so we were talking about spoon.
Uh,
You understood spoonerism, right?
Spoonerism.
Okay. Next is spondy.
Madam, 1 second, madam.
Yeah.
Here, one a blessing crow, a crushing blow. A blessing crow is the meaning, ma'am.
Oh, there is nothing. You just don't want to know the meaning, right? It's just random words I just put together. See, a crow is blushing. You know, blushing when you see something and you feel like, ah, it's so nice, and you will blush.
The
Your
cheeks will
turn red.
turn into red color.
Yeah, that is blushing. I'm just put a random word, a blushing crow. It becomes a crushing. But see, in order to see how the first letter or syllable is repeated.
Crushing blow. Okay.
Just random words put together. Don't worry about it. You don't have to know the meaning or anything. I'm just randomly put some words together. Okay, next is spondy. Spondy is where is spondy? Okay, spondy is a metrical food like iambic pentameter that we discussed, or like that of dactyl. Spondy is another metrical food with two unstressed syllable. Sorry, two stressed syllable. Spondy is a metrical food with two stressed syllables. I hope you remember, right? Last class, all we are discussing about different kinds of metrical devices. I have dactyl. So like that, spondy. Spondy is a metrical device with two stressed syllables.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next. Okay. No, I missed my cursor. Next is sprung rhythm. Sprung rhythm. So you will come across again. There is a Victorian poet called G.M. Hopkins. G.M. Hopkins is a Victorian poet. Okay. Victorian period poet, G.M. Hopkins. So G.M. Hopkins invented a term called sprung rhythm. Okay, he had his own metrical system. In order to describe his own metrical system, he coined the term sprung rhythm. So it is a rhythm counted by stresses and not by syllables and regular feet. See, usually when we studied about metrical food, we said that all these are counted by the syllables. But here he counts it by stress. Okay. Usually a metrical food in sprung rhythm, a metrical food will consist of 1 or 4 syllables. 1 or 4 syllables. Usually it will be 2 or 3 syllables in usual meter, but in a sprung rhythm, it is 1 to 4 syllables. So it is called a sprung. The rhythm is known as sprung because these stressed syllables, no, it is, I said that there will be stressed syllables. It is counted by the stresses. So these stressed syllables may occur one after the other without intervening unstressed syllables. So for example, I will just give an example. There will be two unstressed syllables. Then there will be continuous stressed syllables. So there won't be any unstressed syllables coming in between these stressed syllables. Okay. So there will be continuous stressed syllables, and the and the rhythm is counted by the stresses in these lines. It is called sprung rhythm. Next is stanza. What is stanza? We were like discussing, it's a group of lines, right? Consisting of 2 or more lines arranged together as a unit. It is called stanza. 4-line stanza, 5-line stanza. When you write a poem, after 4 lines, there will be some gap. Then there will be 4 lines gap. That 4 line is a unit. It is called stanza. It's a group of lines, usually 2 or more lines. It comes in arranged together in a unit. It is called stanza. Next is stock character. Stock character. So when you study drama or fiction, you will come across character. Character is an important element in drama or fiction. Okay, so there are two kinds of characters. One is round character, other one is stock character. No, sorry, round, flat character. Then we have another character. Last class we discussed about round and flat character. Remember? The character which does not change throughout the story, and the character which changes, the character has a development throughout at the end of the story, flat and round. These stock characters are certain common characters. Okay, they come in recurrent appearance. Their appearance is recurrent. For example, like a absent-minded professor, a bragging soldier, a damsel in distress, a jealous husband, a nagging wife, a wicked stepmother. All these are examples of stock characters. These characters appears in literary works. For example, I told you about a wicked stepmother. There are lots of stories with a wicked stepmother. No, so these are certain characters that repeatedly come in different stories. They are very common. That is stock characters. Next is stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness is a narrative technique. Okay, it is a narrative technique used in non-dramatic fiction. Usually comes in novels. Okay, non-dramatic fiction. In this technique, they reveal the flow of characters, the characters' feelings, their thoughts, their impressions, their memories. All these will be narrated. That is called stream of consciousness. So the readers will know the thoughts, the feelings, the memories that comes to the character's mind. All these are examples of stream of consciousness. It is first used by William James. The first person to use stream of consciousness technique is William James. Okay, then there we have other writers like James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, William Faulkner. These are some of the famous writers in English literature who made use of stream of consciousness technique.
Ma'am,
Yes.
non-dramatic fiction means it is usually used in novels.
Yeah.
To
Novels.
express the feelings and thoughts.
Okay,
ma'am.
Yep. Okay. Next is style. Style is a manner of expression by a writer. So each writer will have their own technique of writing. It is called style. It is a manner of expression. Each writers will have their own choice of words, figure of speech, etc. Even according to each period, the writers will adopt certain technique. It is called style. For easy to understand, even if in movies also, certain directors have their own style, right? We can identify the movies with the style of the director. Same way in novels or in fictional works also, there are different styles of writing. It's a manner of expressing. The writer's way of expressing, it is called style.
Yes.
Next is syllogism. Syllogism is a logical argument with two premises and one conclusion. It is a logical argument with two premises and a conclusion. For example, there will be two arguments and there will be one conclusion. For example, a very famous syllogism is two premises. No, one. All men are mortal. Okay, this is an example. Then in second premises, you say Greeks are men. See, we have two different arguments. So you will draw a conclusion that from this, you will draw a conclusion that all
Greek men are mortal.
Yeah, so all Greeks are mortal. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. That is the way it works.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is simple or symbolism. So here they give importance to the use of any object. Symbolism is the use of any object, person, place, or event that not only has meaning in itself, but it has a larger meaning also. Okay. It stands for something. For example, I said in last class also, I said, for example, we said take a rose. Rose. Rose itself has a meaning. It is a plant. It is a beautiful flower with a good fragrance. But it is a symbol also, right? Symbol of beauty, symbol of love, right? Or example, or dove. Dove is like a white pigeon, white color. No, so it symbolizes peace.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that is using a object, person, or place which has meaning, which has something larger meaning. Even it can have a global meaning. No, that is called symbol.
Yes.
Next is synesthesia. Synesthesia. Synesthesia is mixing of sensations. Mixing of sensations, like we have our sensory impression, like 5 senses, right? What are the 5 senses? So we can hear, right? Sound. We can see, we can smell, we can taste, we can touch. These are the 5
Yes.
senses. Sight,
Yes.
sound, smell, taste, and touch. So synesthesia is connecting all these together. We are blending of senses. We are blending senses. That is called synesthesia in order to produce a sense stimulation. For example, a person can hear. How will we blend? I can see a smell. See a smell. Can smell be seen? Smell we can only use through our nose, right? Seeing is through our eyes and smelling is through our nose. But here we are combining it. Okay. Or
Ma'am, how we are combining? uh, Like it is not making any sense that see or smell.
yeah, you can't see a smell. It gives a poetic effect. When you use it in poetry, it has different meanings. No, it has a deep meaning.
So, ma'am, what meaning does it make? See or
You
smell?
can see a smell means, see, you can see a smell means you are heightening the effect of seeing. Because you are seeing everything. You are emphasizing the seeing there, right? Tasting color, you are emphasizing the taste because you can taste everything. So one sense will be emphasized, given more importance. So when you use it in poetry, you know, it is a device used in poetry. When you use this in poetry, it has more poetic effect. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Next
madam.
is Okay. Next is synecdoche. Synecdoche. Synecdoche is another figure of speech. Here, you use a part of something to signify the whole. Okay. For example, if you want to refer to a person, you refer to that person as using hands and hearts. Hands and hearts are part of a human body, but here you use the parts to signify the whole. When you write it in the sentence or in the poem, you write it as, we need brave hearts and steady hands. So here, see, you use parts. That means we need a brave man. We need a brave, strong man. That is what it means. So we use parts in order to represent the whole. That is synecdoche. Okay, next is tale. Tale is a prose or verse narrative which can be written or spoken. It is any type of story. Tale means a story. Very simple in theme. It is very complex in presentation. Usually, tale is used as a synonym for short story. Next is terza rima. Terza rima is a Italian verse form. Okay. Here, what you do is you interlock stanzas of 3 lines. There will be terses. Rhyming scheme will be usually terza rima. The rhyming scheme will be A B A, B C B, C D C, then D E D, E F E. Like it goes like this. So here the rhyming will be put together. See, 3 lines. 3 lines will be having rhyming words. Here, see, A. You are interlocking stanzas. See here, A, B, A. And you are connecting it with the next stanza also, right? The B is repeating in the next line. And that line is interlinked with the other one because C is repeating in the other line also. So there will be repeating lines in stanzas. 3 lines will be repeated. That is called terza rima. It is invented by Dante. Dante is the one who invented terza rima. He used it in his Divine Comedy. Then we have Thomas Wyatt, P.B. Shelley. All these writers made use of terza rima. Next is Theatre of Absurd. Theatre of Absurd is a drama. Okay. So there was this French writer called Albert Camus. We pronounce it as Camus. Okay. Albert Camus. So he is the one who introduced Theatre of Absurd. Okay. This kind of drama says that purposelessness of human life. They said there is no purpose in human life. There is no futility in human existence. So that is what Theatre of Absurd. There is like no purpose in human life. They say about sense of purposelessness, futility of human existence. That is what they explain in Theatre of Absurd. Life without a purpose. So you might be familiar with myth of Sisyphus. Sisyphus is a character. Myth of Sisyphus is a work by Camus. What happens is there will be Sisyphus. He rolls all the stones up on a hill, then he drops it. Again, he comes down, he rolls these stones again at the top, again he drops it. So he repeatedly does this without any meaning. It does not have any meaning. It's like a life without a purpose. That is what Theatre of Absurd says. Beckett's Waiting for Godot is a famous example of Theatre of Absurd.
Ma'am, please can you explain the example from Terza Rima? One poem is given on 32 page number.
An example of Ode to West Wind is given in the textbook. O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn, being. See, being. Then dead is repeated at the end. So rhyming, rhyme scheme at the end. Fleeing. Being and fleeing are rhyming. Dead, red, bed. These are rhyming. Now we have though. Though will be repeated in the next line. See, dead, red, bed. It is connecting two stanzas. Sorry, 3 lines will be connected together because they have repeated rhyming words.
And ma'am, what are the writing beside that A, B, C?
That is rhyming scheme. Oh, okay. That is rhyme scheme. When you write a poem, when you have repetition at the end, so similar sounding words will be grouped together. If, see, for example, here, being, we put it as A. Again, if something similar to being comes, we put there A. Dead.
Yes, ma'am.
It ends dead. Pronunciation is dead. So we put B. Red. Dead and red are rhyming, right? Then we put B for red.
Yes.
Bed. Red, bed. Red, dead, red, bed. Rhyming. So B. So similar rhyme sounding words will be grouped together that you represent using A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Okay. Next is theme. Theme is the central idea of a work. When you write a work, the central idea is called theme. So these, the actions, the character development, everything takes place according to the theme. That is theme. Next is tone. Tone is the attitude of writer. How the writer talks about the subject. That is tone. It can be satirical, it can be ironic, it can be very formal, it can be very condensating, intimate. So it is how the writer writes about a subject. That is tone. The next thing is tragic flow. Tragic flow is a error in the protagonist's character. It refers to a flaw. Flaw means error. Flaw means error. Okay. In tragedy, usually in tragedy, we have characters, and these characters will have a tragic flaw. Hamartia. Remember, I told you about hamartia. No? It is called hamartia in tragedy. Error in judgment. Some certain characters will have a error in their character, which brings their downfall. That is called tragic flaw. Next is trope. Trope is a word that are not taken literally, does not have a literal meaning. It is a figure of speech. Trope is a figure of speech that involves the turning or inventive use of a meaning. Usually, we do not take the dictionary meaning, we create a new meaning. That is called trope. This is an example of trope. What? Synecdoche, all are examples of trope. See here, hand. We are not using the word hand as hand, right? We are using this word to mean something else. Even heart, we are using this word to mean something else. We are not using the literal meaning of those words. That is trope. You are using the word, not using the literal meaning. Synecdoche, metonymy, metaphor, irony, all comes under trope. Trope is an umbrella term, okay? Next is three unities. So in drama, there are three unities, okay? You will study again when you study about drama. We have unity of place, unity of time, and unity of action. Don't leave him out. Okay, three unities means there will be unity of time, unity of place, and unity of action. All these three should take place in unity. So, okay. For example, for an action to take place, there are certain time period. So that the humanly possible action should take place in humanly possible time, in humanly possible place. I will give you an example. You might have been seeing movies. No, there will be songs which takes place in foreign countries. So everything will be going smoothly in India, or everything will be going very smoothly in a village area. Then all of a sudden the song will happen somewhere in a foreign country. Right? You might have seen something like that, no? So is it humanly possible to go to a foreign country in seconds?
No, ma'am. It's not possible.
Time. Yeah, you have to book a
Yes.
flight, then you have to board the flight, you have to go to that place, you have to then dance for the particular song, right? So
Yes.
it is the humanly possible time. What do you do? It can be either 12 hours or 24 hours time period, wherever you can travel to. Whatever you can do, that is unity. You will be in Hyderabad today, tomorrow, after 5 minutes, you can't be in Delhi, right? It takes time to travel. So it's violation of unity because you won't be able to go to that particular place in the particular time period. So unity means it should be humanly possible place, humanly possible time, and humanly possible action. That is unity. Okay. Where am I?
So, ma'am, where does these three unities will happen? Will they happen in real life?
Drama. Usually in drama, it comes in drama because there will be a single location. There will be an action taking place, and the action takes place at a particular place, at a particular time. So you can't just violate, you can't just go after 3 days. See, in dramas, you can see violation of unities because after one scene, it will be like after 5 days. This next scene will be like after 5 days. It's not possible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is three unities. Next is utopia. Remember utopia? I'm not going to explain utopia because when we discussed dystopia, I told you about utopia. Utopia is a moral world, ideal world where everything is so perfect. Perfect and ideal society is called utopia, which does not exist actually. Next is wit. Oh, where is it? Sorry, wit. Wit is a term. It's an ability to express something in an intelligent, amusing manner. When you express something in an intelligent and amusing manner, it is called wit. Okay. Currently, it means
Ma'am,
the
please
ability to...
give one example for this.
For what? Wit.
Yes, ma'am.
Wit is a ability to express something. I mean, it's... How will I give example? It is not... say, during the development of time, the meaning of the wit also changes. Okay, it is very it's an intellectual thing. When something happens, you have the ability to say something at a particular time. It is called wit. I don't know how to give an example for that.
In Urdu, we call it Hazir Jawab, ma'am.
What is it? Can you explain it? Yeah, we call a person with it. Someone said me in Urdu ka explaining.
Ma'am, how can they express something in an intelligent manner?
Oh my God. See, something happens. So you are witnessing something. Something happens. You can't just, if you will respond to something. No, you will solve the issues. No, you will overcome the issues. So you will say something to overcome that. It is called wit.
Quick understanding, ma'am.
Yes.
Quick understanding.
You can't understand. Okay, for example, I'll just give you a random example. Someone comes to your home. Okay, your uncle or aunt, someone visits you.
Yes.
So they make some comment on you.
Yes.
Instead of sitting there and crying, or instead of feeling sad, or instead of running away, you stand there and say something.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
For
ma'am. Yeah.
example. Okay. For example. Okay. Usually in the conventional places. Okay. I'm just saying something. I'm thinking to say an example. There are like lots of examples. I don't know which will be appropriate and which will be inappropriate. There are lots of inappropriate things that happens in life. So, but this is a class. I can't say inappropriate things. I'm just making a comment. If someone comes, okay, some old people comes to your home. Yeah, quick understanding of something. Yes. And you will be able to reciprocate that.
Yes.
Someone comes, someone says something about you, and you reply in an intellectual manner. If, for example, if you are 35, you are still not married, someone comes and like, oh, you are not married, this is not appropriate, this is not appropriate, you are a girl, you are supposed to get married, blah, 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 blah. They will comment on you, and you will just stay there without saying you are not a witty person. If you have to give a quick response, quick intellectual response, so they're blaming and you will say, oh, I am okay with not getting married because I have completed my degrees, I am doing a perfect job, I earn this much money, I live a perfect life, I get everything I want, so I am not bothered about you, it's okay, you are worried, I am not worried. You say quick response. That's a intellectual quick response.
Yes,
in Urdu you call it hazir jawab. Oh, you're giving a jawab, hazir jawab, right? I pronounce it correct, no? I don't know. Okay, next is zegma. I think you understood.
Yes, ma'am, I understood.
Next is zegma. It's a Greek word, okay? It means bonding. It's a figure of speech where two unlikely items are juxtaposed. Two unlikely items are connected. For example, it's given in the text. He took his hat and his leave. He took his leave means he left. The sentence means he took his hat and left. Okay, he took his hat and left. Here, hat and leave are connected, but they have two different meanings, right? That is zegma. Two unlikely items are connected together in a sentence. That is zegma. So is it clear? So by this, we have completed, finally, we have completed all the terms. Okay. Now we are moving on to block 2. Now we'll be going very fast because from group 2 onwards, it's like you can read and understand. Okay. First is poetry. Control A, delete. You know what is poetry? You are clear. This much is clear. No, we can move on to the next portion, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Now we are going to study about literary forms. In block 2, we will be studying about poetry and drama. So we completed block 1 finally. Block 2, we study about poetry and drama. Block 3, again literary forms, we study about prose and fiction. Then we will be moving to literary movements and history. Oh God. We have only 3 more days. Okay. I am worried. Now poetry. What is poetry?
It has best
Clear.
order and it creates rhyming at the end.
It has rhyming words. It has
Musical.
different kind of
Ending.
language. The use of language is different, right? If you read a novel and poetry, poetry has a different language. It's a figurative language. Lots of figures of speech, symbols.
Its words have deep meaning in that.
Yeah, deep meaning, and it has a musical quality, right?
Yes.
It has a musical quality. You can sing a poetry. You can also sing with us.
Sing it as a song. Yeah.
It has different kinds of emotions. So that is poetry. Now, there are different kinds of poetry, okay? Different kinds of poetry. So, first one is ballad. Ballad is a kind of poetry. Oh, sorry. Ballad is C. B, no? First is acoustic poetry.
Yes.
Acrostic poem. Acrostic poem is a very short descriptive poem. It's a very short poem, okay? In which first letter of each line form a word. First letter of each line form a word or phrase. Even the first letter of the poem might be the title or the character or a new idea. It want to introduce a order of suspense. Did you understand? No. For example, I will give you an example. We have a poem by Keats. Keats is a writer, okay? Keats is a romantic writer, John Keats. Okay. So John Keats wrote a poem called Georgiana Augusta Keats. This is the name of a poem. Okay. He wrote a poem named Georgiana Augusta Keats. This is a poem written by Keats. Yes. Okay. So the lines will be kind sister, and the poem goes on. In the second line, it will be enchanted has, again the poem goes like this. In the next line, it will be and may it taste, goes on. Next line, it will be take you to real, again goes. Sons, daughters. Did you find anything here? Did you find anything here?
Yes.
See, K.
The starting words are having meaning in them.
No. First letter is K.
Yeah.
Second letter of the poem is
His name is
E.
written.
Yeah, yes. Good. It's the name. It can be either the name of the poet, it can either be the name of the title. Even the Keats comes in the title also, right? The name of the poem itself is Georgiana Augusta Keats, name of the poem. So that is repeated. So the first letter will be, understood, the first letter forms a word. You make a word from the first letter. That is acrostic poem. Understood? It introduces an
Yes,
order
ma'am.
of subject. Okay. Again, another example is given in the textbook, a poem called Stroud by Paul Hansford, Stroud. And see the lines of the poem, the Stroud is being, the first letter is makes another word. Understood? That is acrostic poem. It's easy, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Next is ballad. Ballad is a narration of a story. It's a poem or a song about a story. It describes about a particular person or a particular incident. Okay. It can be the theme. The major themes that comes in ballad are that of death, love, sorrow, or any other emotional subject. Mostly emotional subjects. Okay. Emotional subjects comes as the theme of ballad. So when the listener or the reader will be moved, we will feel sad along with them. Again, there will be some last stanza will be didactic. After the end of the poem, at the end, there will be some 2-3 lines which is didactic, means it has a lesson, it has a moral lesson. That is called ballad. It is made up of 4 lines. Each stanza is of 4 lines. Usually it comes as 4 lines. Rhyme of Ancient Mariner by S.T. Coleridge, La Bella Dame Sans Mercy by John Keats are examples of ballads. Okay. Next is burlesque. Burlesque is a kind of poetry with a serious subject. There will be the poem deals with very serious subject, but that subject is treated very lightly. Okay. And a very light subject will be treated very seriously. That is burlesque. Understood? A serious subject will be discussed very lightly, and a serious subject will be represented with lot of laughter and comedy. But when a comic subject comes, they make it a big serious one. Okay. Understood?
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Next is concrete poem. Concrete poem is, it is arranged in a particular shape. Okay. It is called concrete poetry. For example, when you say something about a tree, and the poem will be, the words will be arranged in the form of a tree. Okay. Understood?
मम्मा वो
Can you
ढक्कन
see?
ही नहीं है
Okay.
कहाँ पे
Can you see the screen?
लाओ
Somebody is talking.
हाँ how
Yes,
can
ma'am. We
मम्मा
can see
You can see what can you see?
screen.
A Google screen. Can you see
Yeah,
a
ma'am.
Google
On
screen?
this, no, on the screen which you was writing before, we are able to see that screen.
Just I will show you now. Now you can see, no? The Google screen.
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
there's a poem in the shape of a
Yes,
tree,
ma'am.
of a face, in the shape of a cloud, in the shape of a tree. See, cup, fish, mouse. So the words will be arranged in such a way that it forms a shape. Understood?
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
concrete poem in the shape of a guitar. The words are arranged in such a way that it forms the shape. Here,
Ma'am, but in
here,
this it is saying that a poem has rhyme, rhythm, and emotion,
yeah,
but
it
they are
has
just
rhyme.
pictures.
It's not just pictures. See, it is arranged in a way that it looks like a picture. Rather than writing them in stanzas and rather than writing them in a particular, like in a just in a place, you take a single page, you write them. Rather than writing that, you arrange the words in a such a way that it forms the shape. It has rhyme, it has rhythm, it has all the elements. Oh no,
Okay.
just a second. Yes, just a second. Hello? You understood concrete poetry. You represent these in such a way that it represents a shape. But it at the
Yes,
same
ma'am.
time, it has rhyme, rhythm, rhyme scheme. It has emotions. It has all the elements of a poetry. It is only that the shape is different.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Okay. You have one example in the textbook. It looks like a leaf.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
That is concrete poetry. Next is dramatic monologue. Remember dramatic monologue? Do you remember it?
Yes, ma'am. Remember in the last class
Come
we
on.
have taught.
Yeah, I know. What is it? I'm asking you, what is it?
In that,
Okay, it is.
the poet will address a silent listener,
Yeah,
in which the
exactly.
listener
Good.
will only listen about the information which poet is saying.
Yeah, exactly. So the poem in which the poet addresses a silent listener and he talks, right? And the listener is silent, that only that person, the poet will be talking, but the audience will know whom he is talking to though. It is
Yes.
dramatic monologue. Example, Ulysses by Alfred Tennyson, Robert Browning's My Last Duchess, then Dover Beach by Arnold, Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, Daddy by Sylvia Plath are examples of dramatic monologue. Okay, next is elegy. Elegy. Elegy, again, what is elegy? Should I repeat it again? We again discussed about elegy, remember?
A funeral song.
Ah, yeah, it's about death. It's a poem about a mourning poem. It's a funeral song or mourning poem or lamenting the death of someone. That is called elegy. And elegy example, we have examples of elegy. Emily Dickinson's The Doomed, Regard the Sunrise is an example of elegy. So when someone loses some like when a person very close to someone is dead, they write a mourning song or lamenting the death. That is called elegy. Okay,
Yes,
next is epithalamion. Sorry. Yeah. Epithalamium. Epithalamium is opposite of elegy. If elegy is a mourning song, epithalamium is a wedding song.
yes.
Okay, so when there is a song to the bride and bridegroom at the wedding, that is epithalamium. Okay, singing in a traditional way to evoke good fortune during the marriage. It is epithalamium. Even Edmund Spenser has written a poem called Epithalamion. It's a written to his bride, Elizabeth Boyle, during their wedding. It is epithalamium as a poem. So epithalamium is a kind of poetry in which the poem is written to the bride or bridegroom at the wedding. It's called epithalamium. Understood? Next is idyll. Idyll is another kind of short poem. It's a very short poem of a pastoral or rural character. The characters will be Rural character, pastoral. Pastoral means what you say, the goat, sheep. There will be lots of goat, cattle going. There will be a person going behind them. No, that is a pastoral thing. This will have elements of landscape. The beautiful rural village landscape will be described. That is idyll. The Shepherd by William Blake is an example of idyll. These are very brief poems about pastoral or rural characters, and they explain about the landscape.
Ma'am, rural character means it will be all about village.
Village, yeah, no city life. It will be village. A rural village area where there will be lots of, it will be
Meadows,
free
grass, trees, like that.
from the landscape, the trees, the flowers, the buildings will be different from that of the city, right? So they describe that of a rural characters, that is idyll. Next is limerick. Limerick is a short humorous poem of 5 lines. It has only 5 lines. It's a very short poem. It's very humorous.
Yes.
And what would I say? The first, second, and fifth line should have 10 syllables. Right? With rhyming words. Okay. And the third and fourth will have only 5 to 7 syllables. When you count the syllables, there will be 10 syllables in the first, second, and fifth line. But in the third and fourth line, there will be only 5 to 7 syllables. That is a characteristic feature of limerick. Next is lyric. Okay, tell me when you have to go, okay? Someone has class at 3, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Next is lyric. I want to finish this though. Next is lyric. Lyric is a collection of verses or choruses, making a complete song. Lyric is a collection of words, choruses, making it a complete song. Or a short, non-narrative form. The lyric uses a single speaker. There will be only a single speaker, and that single speaker expresses personal emotions and thoughts. Earlier, in the early time when the lyric originated, it was sung along with a lyre. Lyre is a musical instrument like a harp. Remember, we discussed about lyric.
Yes, ma'am. We had discussed.
Yeah, that is lyric. Next is narrative poem. Remember, someone asked me doubt about narrative and non-narrative also. Isn't it? Narrative poem tells the story of an event in the form of a poem. When there is an event happening, they describe the event in the form of a poem. It is called narrative poem. It is not a rhyme. It may not have rhymes, okay? It will be short or long. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it was as an end. It's just event. Events has a beginning, middle, and end, right? It has oral traditions like Robin Hood stories, tales of King Arthur are examples of narrative poems. Do you know Robert Frost? Robert Frost is a famous poem, The Road Not Taken, Stopping by the Woods, Mending Walls. These are examples of narrative poems. It tells about something, right? Mending Walls talks about building a wall against, building a wall in between two houses. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe is an example of narrative poem. So these are narrative poems. Next is ode. Do I have to explain what is ode? We discussed. Address to someone or something, addressing something, a poem which addresses something, right? Ode to a nightingale, ode to a west wind, ode to Grecian urn.
They address in a way that it appreciates or praises someone.
Yeah, someone or something.
Yes.
That is ode. So here we go a bit deep. Like ode is classified into, there are 3 types. There are 3 types of odes. Okay. First one is Pindaric ode. First one is Pindaric ode. Okay. This is named after a Greek poet. There's a Greek poet called Pindar. This is named after him. Okay. These Pindaric ode consists of 3 triads. Pindaric ode consists of 3 triads. One is strophe. Strophe is the first section. Okay. Strophe is the first section. Then there is an antistrophe. Antistrophe will be the second section. First section is called strophe. Second section is called antistrophe. Then there is a epode. Epode is the third section. Okay. So there will be 3 sections for this ode. First section is called strophe. Second section is called antistrophe. And third section is called epode. And it will have irregular rhyme. It won't be regular. There will be irregular rhyme pattern. Okay. Okay. Clear? Are you guys there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first is Pindaric ode. Pindaric ode is named after a Greek poet Pindar. This kind of ode has 3 triads. First section is called strophe. Second section is called antistrophe. And third section is called epode. Remember the names, okay? And these has irregular rhyme pattern. Example, ode on intimations of immortality is by a poem by William Wordsworth. It's an ode. It's an example of Pindaric ode. We don't have time, no? Second is Horatian ode. Horatian ode. This is named after a Latin poet. This is named after a Latin poet called Horace. Okay. Pindaric ode is named after a Greek poet called Pindar. Horatian ode is named after a Latin poet called Horace. This kind of ode is very informal. Okay, and it is very intimate. Pindaric ode is not like that. Okay, Pindaric ode is very serious. But as Horatian ode is very informal and intimate. Very interesting. It talks about very interesting subject matter. It does not have any strict rules. It's very informal.
Yes.
That is exactly Horatian ode. Now we have a third type of ode called irregular ode. Irregular ode. This is a type without any formal way. Without any, spelling mistake. Without any formal rhyme scheme. It does not have a formal rhyme scheme. Okay. You can write in whatever way you like. You don't have to follow any rules. You have freedom and flexibility to use anything. No rhyme scheme, no particular structure. It's very irregular. Okay. Ode on a Grecian urn by John Keats, an example of irregular ode. Clear?
In this irregular order, it is saying that such as Pindaric ode.
No.
So
See, don't confuse it with Pindaric ode. Don't confuse it with Pindaric ode. Pindaric ode, you have 3 triads. It has a particular pattern, but it does not have a rhyme. It has an irregular rhyme. It only has an irregular rhyme. Whereas in irregular ode, you don't have a formal regular pattern, no particular structure. Okay, no particular structure also. But here, Pindaric ode, you have a particular structure. You have to follow all the rules, but you don't have a particular rhyme pattern.
So, ma'am, it means that irregular ode is a mixture of Pindaric ode and Horatian ode. It can use any of the pattern from them.
It can use any from that. It can use whatever they like. They have complete freedom. They don't have to follow any pattern. Pindaric ode, you have a pattern. For Asian ode also you have a pattern, but in the irregular ode you don't have any pattern. You can write in whatever you like. Like if you take a bottle,
Yes.
imagine you have a bottle sitting on your table, or you have the pen you are writing with. You want to write a poem about the pen. You just write, just mix together certain words
Yes.
and addressing the pen. Oh, my pen, you look good. You are so blue. I like you. Made up ode. It's an
Yes,
irregular
ma'am.
ode. Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Just
Yes.
a random example, mate. Okay, clear.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Next is sonnet. Remember sonnet? 14-line poem. A poem with 14 lines. Don't remember? Don't remember? Okay. Now, sonnet is a 14-line poem with 14 lines. Okay. Now, sonnet is divided into two. Mainly, there are two branches of sonnets. One is the Italian sonnet. Okay, Italian sonnet, or you call it also Petrarchan sonnet. Okay, Italian sonnet or Petrarchan sonnet. Next is, after Italy we have England, English sonnet or Shakespearean sonnet. Shakespearean sonnet. Okay, so sonnet is primarily classified into two types: Italian sonnet or Petrarchan sonnet and English sonnet or Shakespearean sonnet. Okay. First, what is Italian sonnet? I'm just writing. Okay. Italian sonnet is also known as Petrarchan sonnet because this sonnet is mainly used by the English writer Petrarch. There is an English writer called Petrarch. Sorry, Italian writer called Petrarch. So Italian writer Petrarch is the first person to use Italian sonnet. That is why it is also called Petrarchan sonnet. It combines an octave plus, there is plus, and a sestet. Octave and a sestet. And I am asking you guys question. What do you mean by octave? How many lines?
8 lines.
Yes,
8
yes.
lines.
8 lines. Sestet is?
6 lines.
6 lines. 6 lines. Good. So, this Italian sonnets consist of an octave and a sestet. So 8 plus 6, 14 lines. Okay. And the rhyme scheme, you should remember the rhyme scheme also. The rhyme scheme is ABBA, ABBA. Then it's octave, right? 8 lines. Then CDC, CDC, CDC. Or it can also be CDE, CDE, depending upon. Okay. Okay. Just write CDC. Sorry, CDC, CDC. Now it's 14 lines, no? AB, 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 BA, AB, BA. You can just remember Abba, CDC, CDC. Just for keeping it in mind, okay? Understood?
Ma'am, what is this about, like how you wrote this Abba, CDC?
ABB. It's, I told you, rhyme scheme. To get similar rhyming words will be grouped together. So if you have the textbook, see page number 47, you have a small poem. Spent, you write A. Wide and hide are rhyming, right? Then B.
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
Ben sounds similar to spent. Then A. A. Understood? Present. Yes, you put C. Child. D. Denied.
Yes.
Present and prevent sounds like together. So like different, like it can be either CDC or CDE. It can be CDC or CDE.
Yes, ma'am. Got it. Understood, ma'am.
Okay, next is English sonnet. After this, we can finish the class. English sonnet is also known as Shakespearean sonnet or Elizabethan sonnet. Okay, it is also called Shakespearean sonnet or Elizabethan sonnet. It is used by Elizabethan writers. Elizabethan writers are the writers who existed during the time of Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth. Yes.
Okay, now this kind of stanza, you know, Italian stanza divided into octave and sestet, but here it is
Yes.
3 quatrains. Quatrains का spelling है quatrains. 3 quatrains and a couplet. Quatrains is
3 lines.
no, quatrains is 4 lines. Quatrains is 4 lines. So there will be 3 stanzas of 4 lines. Couplet is 2 lines. Okay. Couplet. Couple means 2. Couplet 2. Okay. So this has 3 quatrains. So how will it be divided? There will be a 4 line stanza, 4 line stanza, 4 line stanza, and a 2 line stanza. Okay. That is English sonnet. Understood? This will be Italian sonnet is an octave and sestet. Here we have 3 quatrains and a couplet. And again, rhyme scheme will be AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. English sonnet is rhyme scheme is easy to remember, no? AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. This is how the rhyme scheme will be. First line and third line ka end will be rhyming. Second and fourth will be rhyming. Here also similarly that rhyming. A couplet will be GG. Same. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next
Ma'am,
one
but
more.
here in this, they are also saying sestet.
What?
In this English sonnet paragraph only, they are saying that the Italian sonnet is divided into octave and a sestet.
While the Italian sonnet is divided into octave and sestet, the English sonnet comprises of 3 quatrains and a couplet. See, here they are saying Italian sonnet is divided into an octave and sestet. English sonnet is divided into 3 quatrains and a couplet.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I understood, ma'am. They are showing the difference between.
Yeah. There is one more kind of sonnet that is called Spenserian sonnet. Okay. And there's an English poet, you will come across him again. He is called Edmund Spenser. Okay. Edmund Spenser used a kind of sonnet called a Spenserian sonnet with a rhyme scheme AB, AB, BC, BC, CD, CD, EE. This is the rhyme scheme of Spenserian sonnet. Okay. So this is here what happens is the A, B, A, B, B, C, B, C, the lines will be connected together. And even the stanzas will be connected together. It's Spenserian sonnet is similarly 3 quatrains and a couplet, but the rhyme scheme is different. Then there is another sonnet called modern sonnet. Modern sonnet is used by contemporary poets. Okay. It's a very modern invention of sonnet. It has a trochees. It can be written in trochees, tetrameters, in blank verse, in whatever way you like. You have to only keep up with the rhyme scheme. A, A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F, G, G. So when you study sonnets, all you have to remember is the rhyme scheme. Just write down the rhyme scheme and by heart it. Okay, you can't do anything. You just have to by heart it.
Yes. And we have to also learn the definitions of them.
Yeah. Yep. Well, anyway, you have to know the definition of all these kind of poetry.
Definition
Everything, not only poetry. Definition. And when you study about sonnet, what is sonnet? 14 line stanzas. 14 stanzas with 14 lines. Then there are different kinds of sonnets. Italian, English, Spenserian, modern. Italian and English sonnets are very important. Clear?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can wind up the class. Someone has class at 4, no? Oh, no, 3. Someone told me they have class at 3. Okay, then we'll meet tomorrow. I don't think, maybe sometimes I won't be able to do the class. Then anyway, you will be having class. Another teacher will take instead of me tomorrow. Okay.
Why, ma'am? Why you are not coming?
What?
No, ma'am. Why you are not teaching us from tomorrow?
I have emergency tomorrow. I won't be available tomorrow. So I have an emergency. So I will ask another friend of mine to take class. But you should be present, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
See you then. Bye. See you day after tomorrow. Okay. Bye.
Bye, madam.